What if the universe isn't just, stars and atoms? What if it's
Wow.
like a living field of invisible forces just waiting to be discovered? And what if healing isn't, just about pills and procedures,
hmm
but about like tapping into something much deeper, something within?
Well, that's a question that has haunted humanity, I think, since the dawn of consciousness.
Hmm.
And today we're going to dive into the story of someone who dared to explore those very mysteries, Franz Mesmer.
Welcome, viewers, to The Quantum Soul. Get ready, because we are exploring the life and legacy of Franz Mesmer. He was a figure who walked that line between science and mysticism, and his ideas about healing and the power of the mind, they still kind of ripple through our culture today, even all this time later.
Yeah, he was born in 1734 in Germany. And Mesmer wasn't just like some fringe mystic or something. He actually held a doctorate in medicine.
Oh,
And get this, his doctoral dissertation was about the influence of the planets on the human body. Talk about a mind ahead of its time.
Yeah, it sounds like he was trying to bridge that gap between the old world of astrology and alchemy and the emerging world of enlightenment science. It was just a time of incredible intellectual change and discovery.
Exactly. And Mesmer was really influenced by figures like Paracelsus. Paracelsus was a 16th century alchemist and physician, and he believed in a universal life force that connected all things.
Uh-huh.
And Mesmer took that concept and developed his theory of animal magnetism.
So that's like the heart of his work, right?
Yeah.
Animal magnetism. This idea that there was this invisible force that flowed through all living beings, and it could be used to cure illnesses.
Precisely. And it's so interesting because he initially used actual magnets in his treatments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he drew inspiration from the work of the Jesuit astronomer Maximilian Hell. So can you imagine like a time when magnets were cutting-edge medical technology?
It's wild.
It really makes you think about how much what we see as scientific changes over time.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that what seems outlandish in one era can totally become normal in another. I mean, look at acupuncture.
Yeah.
It used to be considered quackery, and now it's pretty widely accepted.
Exactly. It's all about expanding our understanding of the universe and how we fit into it. And, Mesmer's treatments were more than just procedures. They were these whole sensory experiences.
Oh, I bet.
So picture this. Dimly lit rooms, ethereal music playing, and the centerpiece was this thing called the baquet. It was a big tub filled with magnetized water and iron filings.
It sounds like he was like conducting energy, almost like with dramatic gestures and a wand or something,
doubt.
to direct this magnetic fluid. And patients were experiencing convulsions, trances, and just like profound relief, like a theatrical performance mixed with a healing ritual.
Exactly. It did have a bit of theatrical flair to it, and it created this atmosphere of expectation and suggestibility. And there's another layer to this, too. Many of his patients were women.
Oh,
Yeah, and that sparked a lot of skepticism back then, which raises all sorts of interesting questions even today about gender and power dynamics and even the nature of healing.
it's a reminder that the history of medicine has always been intertwined with social and cultural biases. But let's get to the real question here. Was Mesmer actually a brilliant healer who tapped into a genuine force? Or was this all just smoke and mirrors, just the power of suggestion?
Right, the million-dollar question. And it was a question that really captivated scientists at the time. The Royal Academy of Sciences in Paris actually put together a whole commission to investigate Mesmer's claims.
Oh, wow.
And one of the key figures on that commission was Benjamin Franklin.
No way, seriously.
Yeah, they did all these rigorous experiments using blindfolds and screens to separate the effects of imagination from any actual magnetic fluid. It was one of the first examples of a placebo-controlled test.
Wow, that's groundbreaking. So what was the final verdict? Did they validate his claims?
Well, the majority concluded that animal magnetism didn't have any real scientific basis. They said that the effects they observed were more likely because of the patient's imaginations and the power of suggestion, but it wasn't a simple debunking.
There's got to be more to the story.
Exactly. One of the commissioners, Dr. Jussieu, actually filed a dissenting opinion. He said he thought there was more to Mesmer's methods than what the main report acknowledged. He thought there was a real phenomenon there, even if they couldn't quite explain it using the science of the time.
It's just so intriguing. Even when faced with official skepticism, there were people who saw something real there, something worth exploring more. Before we get into more of Mesmer's legacy and how it connects to modern psychology and hypnosis, and even quantum physics, we want to take a minute to thank all of you for tuning in to The Quantum Soul. If you're liking this deep dive into the mysteries of the mind and the universe, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It really means a lot to us.
It's amazing how some ideas, even when people push back against them at first, they can still plant these seeds that grow into whole new fields of knowledge.
Right.
And Mesmer's work, even though it was officially debunked, it didn't just disappear. It actually started this wave of exploration into the power of the mind. And that's still going on today.
It's like he opened this door to the unconscious,
Oh.
to all these hidden depths of the psyche. And then later on, people like Freud would explore those depths more.
Yeah, it's almost as if Mesmer gave the initial spark for the whole field of psychoanalysis.
I like that. Yeah.
His methods, especially using suggestion and putting people into these altered states of consciousness, it laid the groundwork for us to understand how our beliefs, expectations, even our imaginations can really shape our reality. And that kind of brings us to this interesting link between mesmerism and hypnosis.
Okay, I'm ready. How does hypnosis as we know it today connect back to those dramatic Mesmer treatments with the baquet and those magnetic wands?
Well, think about the main parts of hypnosis. Focusing attention, responding to suggestions, and going into an altered state of awareness.
Okay.
It's all about getting past that critical analytical mind and tapping into a deeper level of consciousness where it's easier to change.
And if we picture those dimly lit rooms, the music, the baquet, it was all about creating this atmosphere where people were more open to suggestion.
Exactly. He was really good at setting the stage. And modern neuroscience is starting to understand how all of this works on a physical level.
Oh, wow.
Research has shown that hypnotists can actually change people's brainwave patterns. They can guide the brain into states that are linked to deep relaxation focus and being more receptive.
So it's not just theatrics. There are actual changes happening in the brain.
Exactly. There are specific brainwave frequencies, like alpha and theta waves, that are associated with hypnotic states. And these frequencies are also connected to creativity, insight, and accessing the unconscious. It's like hypnosis gives us a way to get to these deeper states of consciousness.
So Mesmer might not have known about brain waves and neural pathways, but he seemed to intuitively understand how to shift consciousness.
I think so. And his ideas have influenced things way beyond clinical settings. We can see traces of mesmerism in all sorts of mind-body practices that have gotten really popular over the years.
Yeah, that's true.
Practices like Reiki energy healing, even mindfulness and meditation, they all focus on the connection between mind and body. The idea that our thoughts and beliefs can have a real impact on our well-being. Mesmer's legacy lives on in this growing awareness that we're more than just physical bodies. We're beings of energy and consciousness, and we're capable of healing ourselves in profound ways.
I love how these ancient wisdom traditions are being validated by modern science. For so long, people dismissed the idea that our thoughts could affect our health as mystical nonsense.
Right.
But now with advancements in fields like psychoneuroimmunology, we can actually see that the mind-body connection is very real.
It's a big shift in perspective. We're going from seeing ourselves as passive victims of our biology to seeing ourselves as active participants in our own healing. And here's where things get really interesting. What if Mesmer's concept of animal magnetism wasn't so crazy after all? What if it actually aligns with some of the most mind-blowing discoveries in modern physics, especially in the realm of quantum mechanics?
Ooh, now you're talking my language. Quantum physics and its implications for consciousness have always fascinated me. Are you saying there could be a quantum connection to mesmerism?
It's a really exciting possibility. Remember, Mesmer thought there was this invisible force that connected everything, and it could be used to bring about healing.
Right.
Well, this actually resonates with the idea of quantum entanglement, where particles are connected no matter how far apart they are. It suggests that there might be this hidden web of connection that underlies everything in reality.
So are you saying that Mesmer was maybe tapping into these quantum fields, these fundamental levels of reality, without even knowing how to describe it scientifically?
It's a mind-blowing thought. What if our thoughts, intentions, even our beliefs, aren't just isolated things happening in our heads, but ripples in this huge quantum sea of interconnectedness? What if healing at its core is about becoming in harmony with these deeper levels of reality?
It really makes you think about the nature of consciousness. Is it limited to our brains? Or is it something bigger, something that goes beyond our bodies, and maybe even interacts with the universe on a quantum level?
These are some of the biggest questions humans have ever tried to answer. Philosophers, mystics, and now even physicists are all looking for answers. And while we don't have definitive proof, the idea that consciousness might be a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism, it's gaining more and more support.
Yeah.
It's a radical shift. We're going from seeing ourselves as separate from the universe to realizing that we're woven into it, that we're almost like the universe experiencing itself. And this reminds me of some ancient wisdom traditions, like Advaita Vedanta, which says that our true nature is pure consciousness, and that we're all interconnected expressions of one infinite awareness.
It's amazing how those ancient teachings are now being reflected in modern science. Like we're coming full circle, combining the wisdom of the past with new discoveries. And as we go deeper into these mysteries, it's really important to think about the ethical side of things.
Absolutely.
If our thoughts and intentions can actually influence reality, even at a quantum level, then we have a huge responsibility to use this power wisely and with compassion.
I completely agree. We can't just get caught up in the potential for healing and self-transformation. We also need to think about the potential for manipulation and misuse. It's like that old Greek myth about Pandora's box. When Pandora opened the box, all these evils were unleashed into the world, but hope stayed behind at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
It's a story that warns us about how knowledge can be both good and bad, and how we need to use it carefully.
It's a perfect analogy. As we unlock the secrets of the mind and how it connects to the universe, we have to be both curious and cautious. We need to ask ourselves not just, can we do this, but also, should we do this? And what could happen if we do? And we want to encourage everyone watching to join the conversation. Share your thoughts and insights, and even your worries in the comments. We're all on this journey of the discovery together.
Yeah, it really makes you think. We might be on the edge of this whole new understanding of consciousness, of reality itself. But let's get back to Mesmer. The guy who started this whole thing, was he a fake? A visionary? Or maybe somewhere in between?
It's a question that people are still fascinated by and arguing about. He was definitely a showman. He knew how to put on a performance, but he also paid close attention to the human experience. And he seemed to sense connections that science is only now starting to figure out.
It's almost like he was speaking a different language. One was all about energy and vibrations, but it didn't quite fit into the science of his time. But maybe as we learn more, we're starting to hear what he was trying to say. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Remember all that stuff about magnetic fluid? Well, there's this new area of research called radiogenetics, and it's shedding new light on Mesmer's ideas.
Oh, okay, tell me more. What's radiogenetics, and how does it connect to Mesmer?
So researchers have found that ferritin, which is this iron storage protein found all over the body, can be manipulated by electromagnetic waves, like radio waves and magnetic fields.
Wait, so are you saying we can actually control this protein with things like radio waves? That sounds like science fiction.
I know, right? And here's the really mind-blowing part. By changing ferritin with magnetic fields, scientists can actually activate certain genes. It's like having a remote control for our biology.
Hold on. So Mesmer talked about magnetic fluid affecting the body. And now we're finding out that a protein that's affected by magnetic fields can control genes. That's pretty amazing.
It really is, and it has huge implications. Imagine being able to turn on genes to make proteins that are missing, or to target and treat things like neurodegenerative diseases. It's a whole new world in medicine.
It's like science is catching up to what Mesmer already sensed. Maybe he was onto something real, even though he didn't have the tools to fully understand or explain it.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what other invisible forces are out there waiting to be found? What other secrets of the universe will we discover as science keeps moving forward?
Mesmer's story is a good reminder that what we know is always growing. It encourages us to keep asking questions, keep exploring, and to be open to the idea that there's more to reality than what we can see.
And who knows, maybe what we call fringe science today will become common knowledge tomorrow.
If you liked our deep dive into the world of Franz Mesmer, don't forget to subscribe to The Quantum Soul and check out the 2 videos on your screen to keep exploring the mysteries of life and consciousness. Until next time, keep those quantum souls shining.